Pierre Gasly just dropped a grenade into the middle of Red Bull's carefully polished PR machine, and it's landed right at Yuki Tsunoda's feet. He didn't scream. He didn't accuse anyone outright. No, Gasly did something far more dangerous. He hinted. And in Formula One, a hint from someone who's lived inside the machine is sometimes more damning than an open confession. Talking to the media, Gasly, who knows exactly how it feels to be the other Red Bull driver next to Max Verstappen, made it clear that Tsunoda's struggles aren't just down to talent or bad luck. Talking with Yuki, I know some stuff that can't be said, he admitted. His tone, calm, measured, but the words, they carry weight. And it's what comes next that turns those words into a ticking time bomb. What's tricky is my time. A lot of things can't be said because you're a driver. You're working for a team, and as a professional, you can't share all the information on the specific situations. Gasly said it's not easy to be in this situation. You try to do what's best for the team, and sometimes you get given something to make it work, and sometimes you're in a situation where, for different reasons, it can't quite work the way you like. Let's pause there. If you've been following F1 for any amount of time, you know Red Bull denies the idea that the car is tailored for Verstappen's driving style. Verstappen denies it too. But here's Gasly all but confirming there's stuff going on behind closed doors that can't be discussed. The same stuff he faced in 2019 before being sent packing back to AlphaTauri, and the same stuff Tsunoda may be facing now because the numbers don't lie. Since stepping into the second Red Bull seat at the Japanese Grand Prix, Tsunoda's managed just 7 points in 12 races. Verstappen? 151. That's not a gap, that's a canyon. And Red Bull is ruthless about that canyon. Helmut Marko has already built a reputation as F1's coldest executioner, a man who will smile 1 week and drop you the next. Gasly knows it. Daniil Kvyat knows it. Alex Albon knows it. Liam Lawson knows it. And now Yuki Tsunoda is feeling the sharp edge of that same sword. Yes, Red Bull has guaranteed Tsunoda the rest of the season, but that's like a king promising the condemned man a nice dinner before the guillotine drops. Behind the scenes, whispers are getting louder, and they're not whispers about Yuki's comeback. They're whispers about Isaac Hadjar. The 19-year-old French rising star is the kind of driver Red Bull loves. Young, aggressive, fast, and with just enough mystery to keep fans intrigued. And if the rumors are true, Hadjar isn't just being considered for a Racing Bull seat. He's being looked at as Verstappen's teammate in 2026. That's 2 years from now. But in Red Bull terms, it's basically tomorrow. If that happens, Tsunoda's Red Bull career doesn't just look shaky, it looks finished. And where does he go if that door slams shut? That's the brutal part. The F1 driver market in 2026 is almost locked. Teams are committing early. Tsunoda's name? Nowhere near the shortlist for Cadillac. Nowhere on Alpine's radar. Even the midfield lifeboats are sailing without him. There's only one path left, and it's not one a racer dreams of. Honda, Tsunoda's longtime backer, is set to leave Red Bull after this season and power Aston Martin instead. The rumor? They're trying to slot Tsunoda in there. Not as a race driver, not even as a number 2, as a test and reserve driver. For Yuki, that's basically purgatory. Still wearing the overalls, still in the paddock, but watching the races from the garage TV screens. And history tells us that once you step into that role, the odds of clawing back a full-time F1 seat are brutally slim. Gasly knows this better than most. That's why, as he says, I just try to chat as a friend and just advise on stuff that may help him. But even Gasly's comeback story required the perfect storm of luck, timing, and performance. And the F1 world doesn't often grant second chances. So, here we are, sitting in Red Bull's most cursed seat, fighting not just for points, but for his career. Gasly quietly confirming that the walls inside Milton Keynes aren't as even as they seem. And a young French rookie waiting in the wings. And here's the cruel irony. Tsunoda's best chance of survival may not even be in his own hands. If Aston Martin suddenly decided they needed a third driver with race experience, he might get the call. But with the Stroll-Alonso pairing locked in, unless something extraordinary happens, a retirement, a shock transfer, or a massive internal shakeup, Tsunoda will be standing on the sidelines in 2026. Meanwhile, back at Red Bull, the rumors of favoritism, the same ones Gasly hinted at, will keep swirling. Verstappen says it's nonsense. Red Bull says it's nonsense. But if you watch enough F1, you know teams can bend the truth like carbon fiber. A setup tweak here, a new upgrade there, always for the team, always for performance, but somehow always perfect for one driver. Gasly's choice of words. Sometimes you get given something to make it work, and sometimes you're in a situation where, for different reasons, it can't quite work the way you like, is the closest thing we'll ever get to an insider pulling back the curtain without tearing it down. And that's the problem for Tsunoda. If the machine is working for someone else, no amount of talent will save you. So what happens next? If Tsunoda somehow delivers miracle performances in the remaining races, wins, podiums, consistent battles with Verstappen, he might just force Red Bull to reconsider. If not, expect the headlines to shift. Hadger signs for Red Bull. Tsunoda moves to Aston Martin in reserve role, asterisk, asterisk. And that will be the beginning of a very different career. The fans can see the storm forming. Gasly can see it too. And deep down, Tsunoda probably knows F1 doesn't often hand out second chances. When the conveyor belt starts moving, you either run faster or you fall off. And right now, the belt is speeding up. The real question isn't whether Tsunoda survives Red Bull's 2026 plans. The question is, when the music stops, will there be any seat left for him at all?